Hey, hey, hey. Let's see. I'm just getting started, so bear with me. Happy Friday. Let's see. I don't know how to see the comments yet, so y'all bear with me, okay? I do have my wine, so if you'd like to grab your own glass and participate, make sure you go ahead and do that because it'll be a couple minutes. And I'm doing this from my laptop, so I don't know how I can see the comments. So, your girl is not as technically savvy as I would like to be, but I'm getting there. I'm working through it, so bear with me. So if you're making comments and I'm not responding, it's just because I can't see them. Oh, maybe I do see this. Hey, 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 it's over on the left. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Whitney. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Ooh, yeah, go get your wine, Evelyn. But I didn't think that you could have wine right now. But I'm gonna hush my mouth. I'm gonna wait for a couple more folks to join in, and then I'll kick us off. Everybody ready for the weekend? Cause I know I am. It's been a week around here. Hey, Tina. Look at me being able to see the comments and stuff. Whew. You added it back this week, Evelyn. That's good. Good timing. Good timing. If you are sipping on a little something, let me know what you have. I have sangria. So tell me what you got to. Yeah, Sandra, it is time for rest and restore because after this, I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to relax and restore and just spend some time. I wouldn't say by myself, but with myself, just really resting. I was supposed to take a nap today, but I didn't do that. So I'm gonna go to bed a little bit early tonight and get all the stuff done, at least plan that I need to do first thing in the morning, and then I'm out. I'm just gonna chill for the rest of the weekend. Cold grape juice. Yes, Tina. I love cold grape juice. Is it Concord? Because that's my favorite. Evelyn, I've never heard of that wine and I'm not going to try to say it, but well, I'll go ahead and dive in because I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Welcome to the very first live for Flow and Flourish. I am so glad that you all are joining me today. I wanted to make sure that I did a live to really help everyone understand a little bit more about what flow is and how I help women achieve balance between their personal and professional life. And if you haven't listened to the podcast, and I'm going to give just a quick high level overview of what those different pillars are. Again, how I help women in this space who are busy professionals, whether you're a mom or not, or even a pet mom, because that's a job in and of itself, making sure that your fur baby is taken care of. So, yay. Hey, Candace. I'm so glad that you're here. Okay. So first things first, I did say in a couple of my posts that Flow and Flourish is not about me being a rapper. However, I did reach out to the group that I was a part of. It's almost 20 years ago now. And I asked him if he could provide me with, a link to the album that we did and he's going to get that to me. So while I won't be flowing today, I will make sure that after this, I provide y'all with a little bit of a link. But give me some grace. I'm going to tell you now, because I was like 17 or 18 at the time. Um, and some of those lyrics are probably not appropriate. So just want you to know that as a heads up. I can't even remember my stage name. However, one of my roommates from college did remind me today, like, girl, I do remember that you was a rapper. So I did do a couple of shows with Too Short, with Busy Bone. So I was out there living my best life in college, UW Parkside in Wisconsin. So if any of my Wisconsin girls are in here, and Whitney, you talking about you like inappropriate, girl, well, you'll love this song. Anywho, I'm Nicole Rhone, and I am a capacity coach. And after 10 years in the HR space, I've decided to branch off and do coaching for women who are busy professionals and who are managing the day-to-day life struggles that come with managing both your personal and your professional life. And so I want to start with talking a little bit about what flow is. And for me, flow really means a steady movement, right? A continuous movement in your life, whether it's personally or professionally. And being in flow means that you're able to ebb and flow with the ups and downs of all the things that are going on. And if you see smoke, it's just my incense, y'all. And I got the door open because it's a little hot down here. And being able to flow in between both of those different worlds, because it can be a struggle, especially now with all of us, or a lot of us, really working remotely and fully working at home. Because I know with the organization that I've been working for, let me turn my ringer off, y'all. With the organization that I've been working for since March, we have been fully remote. And before then, we were working maybe 1 or 2 days remote. And so it's been a total shift for all of us. And initially, I was super excited to be working remote and, wanted to do it full time. But then I didn't think about that from the space of everybody else is going to be home. So it's been challenges with that, with my husband being furloughed, with both of the children being in school remotely. If you don't know, I have a senior in high school who's 17, and then I also have a 5-year-old who started kindergarten. So really trying to help them manage their school stuff on top of my day-to-day work, and really being able to take care of myself has absolutely been a challenge. So I want you to know that I understand that first and foremost. Also, because over the last 10 years, I've really been sitting eyeball to eyeball with people in my office during our one-on-one meeting conversations and talking about things like performance management, soft skills, how to be a better manager, how to increase productivity. And I can tell you that any of the issues that are coming up in the workspace are coming up because of all the things, or any of the things that are happening outside of work. For example, I've had so many people come in and say, hey, I'm struggling with just getting out of the house with whether it's a 10-year-old, 5-year-old, or even a 2-year-old, and the stress that comes with trying to hurry up and get them where they need to be, and then get into work and being fully present, or even getting interrupted by hey, your 5-year-old is sick, you need to come pick them up now, but you're in the middle of a presentation, right? So just the stress that comes along with that. And I'm looking at the comments too. So yeah, Evelyn, you said that it's a lot. And Sandra, you're saying that you have a 5-year-old too, and remote learning, like, y'all, I don't know how to do kindergarten remote. So I'm going to be honest and be real transparent. Our 5-year-old is in a private kindergarten this year, and he's been in preschool, and he's a late 5-year-old, so he'll be 6 in December. But I'm like, Lord, I don't know what to do with this young man, so I'm gonna need you to give me some sort of an option to help him. And it's been magnificent. Now, he does go 4 days a week, and he's there from about 9 to 3 every day, but it's beneficial not only for me but for him, because I know what I'm good at, and teaching kindergarten is not something that's my strong suit. Now, we can practice ABCs, we can write letters, we can do all of that. But the point is, having both of these worlds really collided and having no separation has helped me to realize that it really is a true struggle, and we all need some resources and some help, as well as a safe space to talk about what that looks like. one of the biggest encounters I'll say that I've had throughout this process is having friends and family members who may not have experienced working remotely before. And because they may say, hey, you working from home, right? So that means you have time to talk. No, I actually got back-to-back Zoom meetings, sweetie, so I don't have time to talk. Or managing between having the kids home and wanting to help them with their homework or attend this different meeting, or in my case, needing to take a break to walk the dog because you've been home all day. And, the fur babies weren't necessarily used to any of us being home all the time. So really being up underneath me all the time, it has been a huge challenge. So I've had to put some strategies in place to help me to be able to flow and flourish between all of those different roles. So, um, let's see. I'm looking at the comments too. So, yeah, Nicole, you said you hear all that. And Whitney, you're saying that people do this with you too because you homeschool. Right. It's not like just because you're home, you're sitting there playing Candy Crush all day, or that you are online shopping. And yeah, there may be some of that in between, but there's really still work that needs to happen. So, from that, I want to talk a little bit about the 5 pillars that I use, not only personally, but that I've been developing actually over for the last 10 years and working in the corporate sector, and how you make that work. So let's talk about those pillars. So there are 5 of them. And yeah, Candy Crush is my stuff. I'm telling you, I'm on level like 2,500. Don't judge me. It's my happy place. It's like where I don't have to think, I don't have to do anything. So it helps me to just decompress a little bit. But those 5 pillars that I have are heart flow, health flow, workflow, cash flow, and faith flow. And now, while those all may not be in a particular order, each and every one of them are super important because they're all interrelated. So I'll break down a little bit about what each pillar means. So heart flow is what I like to say all about the different heartstrings. So the people, the relationships that pull on your heartstrings. And for me, that's of course my core family, my husband, my children, my fur baby, but then even with extended family. So what some of you may not know is that I have a father who is in chronic heart failure right now. And so he pulls super heavy on my heartstrings. I also have a mother who is recovering from surgery. And then I am the second oldest out of 10 siblings. So I'm the oldest girl, and I tease my big brother all the time. And I say, that means that I'm the oldest by default, right? Because you pass everything to me. So really managing those different relationships and how those take a toll on you. Hold on, Evelyn, how does Candy Crush stress you out, boo? It's fun. You gotta learn how to play it. I'll give you some tips on that. But heart flow, again, is all of those different heartstrings that you have. And being honest with yourself, being in an honest space where you can really reflect and understand how those different relationships take up your time, your energy, your money, your thoughts, and putting them into perspective. And so I talk a lot about that in the podcast. And I actually just finished a 4-week heart flow series where I talked about, number one, your relationship with yourself and what that means, how that impacts your heart flow. And another big area within that I talk about is heart disease, because as women, we are more susceptible than any other group in the human population to all of the different ailments of heart disease, whether it's heart attack, stroke, heart failure. And it comes from all the worrying that we do, even about the smallest little things, right? Like, what time do I have to leave here in order to drop Liam off to get to work for my meeting on time? I have this presentation. I got to make sure I get back and eat dinner, if not just for myself, but for my family as well. So really managing all of those different pieces. And then we also have your health flow. And for me, I know that's really general, but I focus mainly on your mental, emotional, and your physical health, and how all 3 of those are really interwoven into the fabrics of who you are and how you're able to show up for yourself, your job, your family, your friends, in totality, right? Showing up in excellence, because I know all my overachievers here. I know I'm not the only one, right? Who, if I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do it well. And you want to be able to do that. But when you're taxed in, whether it's your heart flow or even in your health flow, if you're not taking care of yourself physically, from sleep to diet to exercising, and then even mentally, right now, especially with COVID being so prevalent, I think it's safe to say that everybody's mental capacity is like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see nothing else about how many numbers are rising. I don't want to see anything else about how we're going backwards in our standards for being able to go out and do things like we used to do. Um, just all of those different things, or even being terrified to go to the gym because you don't want to catch COVID, right? So our mental health is a cornerstone for how we're able to really show up in excellence. Because if you're stressing out in these areas and you're constantly thinking in the back of your brain or even in the front of your brain, it's distracting you from how you're going to show up professionally in your job. And I know in HR, I've been saying for years that we expect people to just leave it at the door, right? Leave whatever you have going on at the door. When you're here, focus and be present. But it's really hard to do that when you have so many other things that are on your brain. So that's really what the health flow pillar is all about: the physical, mental, and emotional capacity that you have to be able to show up in excellence in every other area of your life. And so I also have cash flow. So yes, all about the money, all about the coins, and how not only just the amount of money that you make, but the habits that you have and how they impact your ability, again, to show up in excellence. So if you are spending because you're trying to fill a void, or you're spending because you're excited, you're card happy, and I'll admit I've been that way. And now with the holidays coming up, I have to get myself in order too, right? Let's not overspend just because I'm home. And Diane, you said you cannot take it if the gym closes again, right? Um, I'm not ready for that because I literally just got back in a rhythm of being able to go back and forth in this boxing class and weight training, and even just going to plain old Planet Fitness to get a change of scenery, right? We don't want it to go backwards. But with the cash flow, again, circling back, you just want to be mindful of the different habits that you have, the different mindsets that you have, and understanding where those come from. Because I know for me, thinking a lot about what did I hear so much growing up, right? I heard money doesn't grow on trees. Anybody else hear that? Yes. Or, you know, thinking about where we're spending our money at and such. It's really important for you to get in touch with those habits. And so I talk a lot about that in the podcast as well. And I'll have quite a few guests that are going to come on and help me elaborate, because I'll be honest, that is not my ministry. But I have done some work in understanding what's triggering me to spend money over here, or, how it's contributing to how I show up for myself. And is it my self-esteem that's causing me to feel like I just need to go get a whole new wardrobe because something deep down inside is hurting me? So we have those three pillars, okay? And we also have your workflow. Now, being in this HR space, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about because, again, I've sat eyeball to eyeball with every level of employee over the last decade plus and talked about, how do I show up the way that I need to, right? How do I get promoted? How do I promote people on my team? How do I lead my teams more effectively? And while a lot of that does boil down to the different soft skills that you have, a lot of it also boils down to some of the stuff that's going on at home. I've had people that are coming in to talk to me about, again, how to motivate their team, but they're struggling with a divorce that they're going through. Or how can they get promoted, but they feel like because they just had a baby that they're being, kind of cast aside for the promotion. So really talking through a lot of those things and making sure that people are in alignment with, where it is that they're trying to go. So I'll talk a lot about workflow as well, and making sure that you are where you're supposed to be, that you do feel fulfilled in the work that you're doing, and that you're making the impact that you want to make. And then, of course, last but not least, I have the faith flow. And in this one, it's really all about who and whatever it is that you believe in. And I'm someone who considers myself a Christian, but I do believe in yoga. I do believe in burning incense to get my energy right. I believe in chakras and all of those different things because there are different pieces that you can take from each and every one. And it's about how you use that to guide you through when you're having these hard times, when you're struggling to be the best version of yourself, right? Like, how can I show up for my children if I can't even show up for myself? Like, Jesus, I'm gonna need you to help me get through this. And how tapping into your faith allows you to really be able to do that. And I'm excited to have a couple of guests on the podcast, and then I'll have folks here on the faith, on the Flow Fridays that are able to talk a little bit about, whether it's their personal stories that they have overcome and how that can help you. But faith is a big, big, big cornerstone for me. I've shared my story quite openly on how I've gotten through a very, very difficult abusive relationship. And I'll pause right there for a second because my husband was like, you know what, you're going to have everybody thinking I was beating you and I was doing this and I was doing that. And I'm like, no, that's not him. That's not what it was. But how I used faith to really help me to get through that. And even now, stepping into what it is that I'm doing, because I'm really good at sitting behind the desk, right? And having these face-to-face conversations, but pushing me into where I am now and sharing my story and being vulnerable and being able to help other people really understand how faith has led me to be where I am today. So I want to make sure that if you have not already done so, please take a listen to those first couple of episodes that I share about how and why I've gotten into this podcast space and how I can help you. And so that's really the overarching view of flow and flourish. It's really helping you to flow through all the different areas of your life so that you can flourish tremendously. Darius, you're welcome for cleaning that up. I know we talked about that, so I wanted to use this opportunity to clear that up too. But yeah, so this platform and these Flow Fridays are going to be full of information and tips and resources and tools on how to really help you flow between your personal and professional life. So since I've done all the talking so far, I really do want to see if there are any questions that anybody has or any significant struggles that people are having right now in managing both their personal and professional life. Because I can talk all day, but I don't want to, run off on a tangent. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And if not, then I'll give you a couple of tools that I personally use, especially in these days, to really help me navigate and manage between my personal and my professional life. I'm just reading through the comments too. Let's see. Oh, Diane, I see what you said, that you like the way that I highlight how we need to show up for ourselves and as women. Yes. And that's a really good point, because one of the other things that I stress a lot is community and really having this sister circle or having your sister friends that you can talk to without judgment and to lean on for support, because you aren't meant to do it by yourself. I spent so much time by myself, suffering in silence, feeling embarrassed and ashamed about what I was going through, whether it was in my marriage or parenting with the two different age groups, because that's a gap, y'all. I literally started all over and was like, Lord, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to need you to send somebody to help me. But having that community is pivotal. Having people that you can talk to. Not just, your sister friends, but also seeking therapy. Because in the Black and Brown community, I know we're always talking about just pray it away, take it to Jesus, which I agree, right? You can take it to Jesus, but there's nothing else. There's nothing wrong with having Jesus and a therapist. And I'm going to do a whole episode on that. So just wanted to touch base there really quick. Okay, so Chanel, hey boo. You said, how do you make coworkers respect your calendar? And that's a very good question. So, one of the things that I do is really setting boundaries. Even if you block off your time, right, and your calendar's blocked, I've had plenty of people still put stuff on my calendar like, well, this is what time works best for me. So I've had to effectively challenge, even at the leadership level, and say, hey, I realize that you want to have a meeting at this time, but this is what is already on my to-do list. If you want me to drop one of these off, I'm happy to do that, but that's going to push everything backwards. So let me tell you what works best for me so that I can get you what you want. So it's really about having an open conversation, Chanel, and really sticking to those boundaries. And it doesn't have to just be with leadership. It can just be your regular old peer coworkers that are saying, hey, I need you to drop everything that you're doing right now and attend this meeting. I'm sorry, I can't. And it's about communicating that. Um, what you say? Tell them therapists and God go hand in hand. Yes, I'm gonna need you to try Jesus and not me. But tell me if that's helpful because I know that that's something that I've experienced a lot. And as someone who is really committed and dedicated to my work, I mentioned in a post earlier that some of the signs that you really need to actually check what's on your plate is if you are over delivering and under promising. And it's easy to get caught in that cycle if you're constantly saying yes to everything and moving your boundaries around, especially when you have blocks on your calendar. So it's more so about just saying, hey, you know what? This is already, my time is already accounted for, but can we maybe do this another time? So let me know if that answered your question. Let's see. And Diane, you said, how do you get past the negative stigma associated with needing help? Girl, that is a really, really good question. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, some of you may know that I'm currently out on a leave of absence for my own personal health. And I can't tell you how hard of a decision it was for me to actually go to my leadership team and say, hey, I'm not doing well, and this is what I need to do for me. Because in the HR space, I'm constantly preaching that you got to take care of yourself. You have FMLA and all of these different things in place for you to be able to take so that you can show up in excellence here. But sometimes in our roles, we get terrified to really use those benefits. So, Diane, to answer your question, I think the best thing to do is to number one, recognize that it's okay to not be okay. And whoever is upset about that, they need to go take that up with somebody else. This is where you prioritize yourself and you say, hey, I need to take this time to do X, Y, and Z. What they think doesn't matter because I clearly could have let what my managers think, what some of my key stakeholders think about me taking time off impact my decision to take the time that I needed to take care of myself. And so you have to look at it from the lens of, you know what? I really need to take care of me because if I'm not taking care of me, I can't show up for anybody else and do anything at this job for you because you're going to get something that's half-assed, not done. I'm not really going to be able to do this the way that you hired me to do it. So let me know if that helps you. And I also want to say, most organizations have something that's called an employee assistance program or EAP. And it's something that's so heavily underutilized. It's free to you and anybody in your household, and it's available for situations just like this. Most times they have counselors on call, trained counselors, trained certified, that you can talk to at the drop of a dime 24 hours a day. And those calls, not only are they free, but they're confidential. And they can't tell your employer or anybody what you're calling for, why you called, what you talked about. And it's there to really help you to be able to manage all the things that you have going on. So if you need help navigating through how to get in contact with your EAP, let me know. You can absolutely go to your human resources department and they should have some information. But the EAP folks are a really great place to start because they will help you build that confidence in saying, hey, this is what this here for. So make sure that you utilize that, and let me know if that answered your question. Okay, I think I'm missing some questions, so I'm going to scroll through. Hey, Gail, I'm glad you made it. Okay, so I got the coworker. Diane, I got your question. Okay, Chanel, you said how to get family to respect your space while you build. So parents, siblings, significant others. Whew. That one is a lot. But it really is similar to those different boundaries and your values. And so people are going to treat you how you allow them to treat you. And that goes for whether it is in your personal or your professional life. And so as you're building, I'll use myself for example. So right now, even in the space that I'm in, on the other side of this is my daughter's bedroom, right? And there used to be this constant back and forth about, oh, well, I need to use the space because it's in my room, or I need to use this space because it's my office. And really setting some parameters around, hey, this is what I need, and this is how I need you to support me, and sticking to it. And that's not to say that it's always going to go over smoothly, right? Like, again, your friends and family may think that because you're home or you're working remotely or that you're in a program that you may have all this different time to help them do other things, but you have to be confident in where your boundaries are and where your values lie. Because at the end of the day, people are going to treat you how you allow them to treat you. So it's about really identifying what is it that I do need and then communicating that to them. You know, it doesn't have to be snapping on them or anything, but really being able to just say, hey, this is what I need, and I need you to support me. So Chanel, let me know if that answers your question. I'll even talk from a parent's perspective because, again, as the second oldest of 10 different siblings, I almost feel this duty and obligation and responsibility to be there for my younger siblings, but I noticed how that was taking a toll not only on me, but my core family. So if I'm ripping and running and doing stuff for you and you grown, that's taken away from my children that need me. So really getting clear on what it is that you need and then sticking to that. And even from a parent perspective, I mentioned that my dad is in chronic heart failure, and for a while I was going and going grocery shopping for him, and I was coming in and I was cleaning up and doing all those kinds of things. But he honestly has two able-bodied siblings that I have there, one who's 19 and one who is 15, who can do all of that. I don't need to drive an hour and a half to go do that because it's taken away from my time that I need to focus not only on myself, but on my family. So really getting clear about what it is, again, that you need, that you want from your, whether it's your parents, your family, your significant other, and saying, this time is my time, and I need you to respect that, and I cannot help you during these hours. It's like creating your own business hours for those who you love and care about. So let me know if that answers your question. I'm going to take a sip because my throat is a little dry. Okay, so Dion, you said, I work in my basement and I struggle with when to shut down because I never leave the house. That is really, really good. I too work in the basement, and it's so easy to just be so into your work, right? And especially when you're loving what you're doing, you have to be able to really make yourself get up and go. So for me, what that looks like is in the morning when I get up, I'm setting time aside away from my computer to really eat breakfast and ease into my day. And then for lunch, I'm setting time on my calendar, and then I have to abide by that. If I'm saying I'm going to eat lunch at 12:30, I have to absolutely step away, because if I sit here all day looking at this computer, my eyes are going to hurt, my head is going to hurt. I'm not going to be able to fully engage with my family. So you have to set up time to make sure that you get away. And again, it's setting those office hours. And I realize that sometimes there are going to be days or projects or things that you're working on which are going to need a little bit more of your attention, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but you have to know what you need, and you have to realize it's okay to put yourself first, whether you're working in corporate or you are an entrepreneur or you're doing a combination of the two. You can't be any good to anybody if you're depleted and tired and you have no energy to continue to carry forth. So, Dion, I encourage you to really schedule some time out, even if it's 2 15-minute breaks, because it's really easy to just be all in on your work. Get up and walk around. Like, I literally would schedule, boop, it's time for me to get up and stand up. Boop, it's time for me to go get some water, because half the time I would be sitting here working with my legs crossed all tight, like I gotta pee, but I just need to send this last email. No, don't do that. Schedule some time for you to get up, move around, and do what you need to do so that you are refreshed throughout during the day and that you're not feeling overwhelmed. And by the time you look up, it's 7 o'clock and all you've done is work all day. So let me know if that helped. Let's see. Renee, you said you're happy for me. Thank you, cousin. And you're a community mental health therapist, and people really need to understand themselves first. Yes, yes, absolutely. You got to be in touch with yourself. So thank you for saying that. And girl, I didn't know that you was a community mental health therapist. We need to connect, love. But yeah, it's about prioritizing yourself. And I know with me, oftentimes being the only person that looks like me, especially going up the corporate ladder, I've had to work really hard to get where I am. And then I felt this inner need to do above and beyond to feel like I'm worthy of being there. So I need to outwork my coworkers, or I need to out project my coworkers, or whatever it is. And so you need to realize you're not a machine. You are a human. You're a human and you need rest. You can't keep going on and on and on. And if you do, you're going to burn out. And eventually you may end up in the hospital like I did, where you are, so burnt out that you cannot even walk. So making sure that you're checking in with yourself is really, really important. Okay, Chanel, yay, that answered your question. Thank you. I'm just reading through the comments. I'm a little behind. So, Dion, you said you was working all day and you stopped for this. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping and taking time. I know that it's hard. I am a recovering perfectionist, I'll say. And so it is a struggle for me still into this day. Like, I'm finding myself that even as I'm going to doctor's appointments, not only for myself, but for my daughter, some of you may or may not know that my daughter has chronic migraines, and she's had them since she was 5 years old. And she's 17 now, so 12 years of chronic migraines and going to doctor's appointments. We've seen neurologists, cardiologists, she's done acupuncture, she's done Botox, we've tried all kinds of different medications. And even in between then, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take you to this appointment, but hold on, I need to finish this email, or let me get off of this conference call, and constantly on go, 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 go. You have to realize you are important too. It's a lot about putting yourself first and giving yourself permission to be able to step away. You can love what you do all day long, but make sure that you're baking into your day time to rest, recuperate, and refresh yourself. Okay, I'm reading through. Okay, so let's see, Gail. You said between working your day job from home and building a course too, it's easy to just be working all the time. Yeah, it really is. I'm there with you. Gail, yay, you got your 6 free therapy sessions. Yes, isn't that so bomb? Like, EAP is so underutilized. Even the one that I have right now, they do vacation planning, they do will and estate planning, they help you with different budgets, and this is a free resource. They even help you with legal situations. I used it a while ago to help find daycare when we had Liam, because again, there's an 11-year gap between those two children. I didn't know where to look for daycare. Like, my baby was big enough and really pretty much watching herself. I won't say watching herself, but for the most part, she was able to come home and do what she needed to do. So EAP, please, please, please make sure that you are utilizing it. Okay. And Evelyn, you said that you struggle with that too. Your husband will come in while you're working and crack jokes or blast music, and you love him dearly. You want to fight him. Yeah. Y'all know I got Chef Rhone here, and Chef Rhone cannot cook without music. And so some days I'm like, hey, I'm recording the podcast. I really need you to turn it down a little bit, because this is what I need in that moment. And for me, I used to, I guess, be afraid to say something because I didn't want to offend him, and I definitely didn't want him to stop cooking because a girl need to eat. But being able to really just come to terms with what it is that you need and then expressing that. So really, ladies, it's all about making sure that you're communicating what you need and not sitting on that and saying, oh, I'll just figure it out, or oh, I'll just push through it. No, babe, say what you need to say. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to be willing to help you get what you need. Okay. Yeah, siblings are a whole nother thing, Chanel. I love mine dearly. They are wonderful, but it's kind of draining too when you have so many of them and you love so hard, right? You want what's best for them. And my sister and I were talking about this, that it's easy to, just hearing their voice that something is wrong. And so automatically jumping into fix it mode. You got to stop yourself, because sometimes you're robbing your siblings of their own journey and their opportunity to figure it out. And just taking a step back and saying, okay, is what I'm about to do and dive into going to take away from what it is that I'm supposed to be focusing on right now? And that could be hard because, number one, I don't like anybody to be upset with me, right? I don't want nobody mad at me, don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But at the end of the day, I have a right to do what's best for me. And sometimes when you have siblings, and especially when you are, the oldest sibling, you take on that responsibility naturally. Okay. Yes, Diane. Your office hours are 9 to 5. Absolutely. Yep. 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 Okay. And Evelyn, you said you have an alert on your phone to move every 30 minutes. Yes, both on my watch, on my phone, on my laptop. But honestly, sometimes even when that alert goes off, I'm like, just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. And so I've had to get in the habit of when it goes off, I'm up, right? And not saying I need to keep moving. Shanzi, you said that these are great tips. Yay, thank you. I'm glad to hear that, and that you're guilty of working through breaks. Like, listen, y'all, I'm the one who would eat breakfast on the way to work, or at least have my breakfast with me. And then as soon as I get in, I'm warming my breakfast up and I'm eating through it as I'm trying to do emails and take calls, and then working through lunch, also working way past my cutoff time, and then wondering why I'm all burnt out. I'm hungry, I'm mad, I ain't got up to move around, I done held my pee and possibly gave myself a bladder infection. So you have to be able to navigate through that. So thank you for your transparency, Shanzi. I appreciate that. Gail, you said you have one break to move on your calendar. Yeah, even if it's 10 minutes, it doesn't take much, right? If it's to get up and stretch. One of the things that I've also put in place for me is to take a few minutes just to take a couple of deep breaths. You will be amazed at how spending 2 minutes just deep breathing resets you completely. Completely. So let's make sure that we're doing that. And Dion says, no, you are not the only one. I'm telling you, you are. And my bathroom is upstairs too. I'm like, I don't want to go all the way up there. So good, 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 good. Okay. And so Chanel, you're saying that your supervisor has been good with holding you responsible to move. Yes. And that's great. Oftentimes I found that when I'm in a really good and supportive environment, not only am I holding people accountable, but they're holding me accountable too. For example, with my supervisor in the office, they were calling me the water police because I would walk by and be like, did you drink some water today? Because your water still looks like it's not been touched. And have you taken a break to eat lunch today? And that in turn would help them to say, you know what, you're right. And then they would be able to come in and peep on me and say, excuse me, ma'am, did you eat lunch today? Because you look like you're working through lunch. I'm going to need you to get up. So I'm glad, Chanel, that you have that sort of support. That's awesome. And Renee, you said that you're overworked too. Yeah, we all are. We are in this day and age, and especially in the United States, we're the most overworked country in the world. We're constantly on the grind, constantly trying to hustle and do everything. But sometimes you got to sit that cape down and you have to rest and you have to take care of yourself because your life absolutely depends on it. So Thank you guys for all of the different questions. It's been really helpful for me to be able to engage in conversation with you. And I want to invite you to continue to, listen to the different podcasts. I have a new episode that comes out every Tuesday. I'm going to be doing these lives every single Friday. So if there are questions that you think of throughout the week that you want me to address, um, as you're trying to figure out how to manage your personal and professional life, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Most of y'all actually have my real phone number. So, like, text me. And then, of course, I'm also available through Messenger, on Facebook, on Instagram. Like, I'm here to support you because my calling is to really help you all be able to manage between each of the different roles that you play. It's not easy, and we take on so much as women, and I want you to be able to flow effortlessly, because when you do flow effortlessly, you're able to show up for yourself and the other areas of your life in excellence and tremendously. Okay? So I want to thank you all for joining tonight. This has been awesome. This was my first live doing this, so I've been nervous, but I'm sure excited. This was really, really good. I really appreciate it. And again, I'm here for you. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you guys next Friday. Talk to you soon.